Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And I do want to say one thing before I start this video, and that is, don't let yourselves get distracted. Recently, we start to see a big talking subject over on Twitter. In fact, it is trending with over almost 500,000 tweets. And we do see it's about aliens. The government is talking about aliens, UFOs. It's been a big talking subject all over Twitter, with, of course, a few people making jokes about it. But for the most part, everyone is talking about this right now. And I even went over to Twitter and I tweeted out saying the government is talking about aliens again. I wonder what they are distracting us from now. Now, of course, when we do look into this, there's a lot happening around regulatory frameworks with stablecoins, the Federal Reserve, you name it. Now, I do want to focus on CBDCs within this video because I do believe that they are distracting us away from CBDCs and what's happening with this new coin, this world coin, if you will. So first and foremost, I do want to play a video from Peter over on Twitter. Definitely go check him out on YouTube as well. He does daily videos. And he's actually talking about FEDNOW being a Trojan horse for CBDCs. Check this out.
A few days ago, the Federal Reserve launched their new payment system, FEDNOW. What does it mean? What happens next? Will they make you eat the bugs? FEDNOW is an instant payment system run by the Federal Reserve that collects information and can veto transactions, leading many to compare it to a CBDC. Coin Bureau put out a great YouTube video the other day calling FEDNOW a, quote, Trojan horse for a CBDC. The key difference being FEDNOW is only between banks, so it's only bank money, while a CBDC would also cover cash, so there would be no escape unless you stop using the dollar. The Fed's excuse for FEDNOW is that our current payment system is garbage. It takes days to move money, and you can't use it on nights or weekends, which is very 19th century of them. Economist George Selgin suggested this almost appears intentional, that they were running payments on horse and buggies, perhaps so they could justify this kind of centralization. So they could have just kept payments open on nights and weekends and called it a day. Of course, they did not do this, since every government failure is an opportunity for yet more control. So FEDNOW has been in the works for almost a decade, starting with the 2015 Faster Payments Task Force, made up of major banks, payment processors, and retailers like Walmart. In 2019, they announced the actual FEDNOW project, which is coincidentally right around the time the World Economic Forum announced its 2030 project to force global socialism on humanity, championed by a key player in FEDNOW, Lael Brainerd. FEDNOW development continued during the pandemic, with Brainerd herself announcing the features in a webinar: near instant payments, reporting those payments to the government, and the ability to limit or blacklist both accounts and individuals using, Brainerd promised, machine learning. I've mentioned recently the Fed's obsession with so-called friction tech to lock you into a failing bank, and the federal government has long sought a way to make universal basic income easy, since they want to buy votes and permanent parasites do, in fact, vote. FEDNOW would be a big step to centralizing such control of money. So what happens next? In the near term, expect a sharpening of the federal government's ability to surveil transactions, to harass people they don't like, in both cases a level up from the surveillance state we already have in today's banking system, the one Justin Trudeau used against his people. As for freezing you into a bank or universal basic income, both await crises that our ruling clowns obligingly deliver like clockwork. Future bank failures will surface the friction talk, while any jump in unemployment will be the bat signal for the professional activists in media and non-government organizations, which are government funded, to get working on that universal basic income. Governments have spent 50 years building a surveillance panopticon into our financial system, using tax avoidance and terrorism as the go-to excuse. And despite the Fourth Amendment clearly forbidding such dragnet surveillance absent probable cause of a very specific crime, none of this stuff is popular among voters. CBDCs, for example, regularly score about 80% opposition. but they are obviously incredibly popular for governments seeking control. We could see a revival of the Fourth Amendment in America, but if not, the only way to stop these things is for voters to demand politicians stop it, and for elections to be clean enough that politicians actually listen. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
And I highly doubt that we're ever going to have that. So in order for us to stop a CBDC, well, we would have to be betting on the impossible to become possible. And I highly doubt that that is going to be the case, especially around politics, as we do know how manipulated and corrupt the politicians are. One thing that I will mention around CBDCs and what's happening around our financial system, I've always mentioned that the FEDNOW system is, a gate opening event for CBDCs, because again, with FEDNOW, it streamlines banks failing. We recently just seen PacWest fail, and it got bought out. So I wonder how many more banks are going to fail, and they are going to utilize this as an example to say we need a CBDC and usher it in. Just like Peter is saying, they are going to cater it to the problems. They're going to say, look at all the problems with our current financial system. Guess what? We have the solution. Here's a central bank digital currency. Be happy with it. And that's when they usher in the restrictions and this and that. And I've seen a lot of people mention, like, Ripple is working on CBDCs. Does that mean that Ripple is also, this company that wants control, blah, 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 this, that? I actually think that's beneficial to have private players like Ripple working on CBDCs, because it could allow for restrictions for overreach of power from the government. I'm not too sure on how well that's going to work, but I'm hopeful that these private entities like Ripple or any other company working with CBDCs could ultimately help the retail sector avoid those major restrictions. Now, also, what I've been talking about is the World Coin. And wow, does this topic get more and more interesting every single day. So this video got posted by Sam Altman, of course. This is the creator of WorldCoin. And this is day 3 of WorldCoin launch. Crazy lines around the world. One person getting verified every 8 seconds now. What are these people doing? Well, they're scanning their retina, their biometrics, to receive an airdrop of a garbage coin. How wild is this? And you honestly think that we are going to stop CBDCs? If people are this open to going out and getting their retina scan for an airdrop of a useless token, just imagine what's going to happen when CBDCs come. And Patrick Henningsen said over on Twitter, here we go, folks. Hundreds of youth voluntarily line up to have their eyeballs scanned with a WorldCoin orb to get their new digital ID with free money, WorldCoins, in their new digital wallet. This is exactly how CBDCs will be rolled out globally. And yeah, it is. No buying or selling without the mark. One thing that I do want to mention is stimulus checks. I remember how excited people were for $1,400. Now, I'm not one to sit here and say $1,400 is useless, but when the government is giving you $1,400, you really got to question, why are they? What's the case around this $1,400? Well, first off, they printed a massive amount of money, trillions. We're talking, multiple trillions of dollars. $1,400 to every U.S. citizen. Well, guess what? That does not account for the amount that they printed. So a lot of that money probably went into the pockets of some politicians. Maybe it went here, there, who knows where. But we do know that the $1,400 was an excuse to, 1, destroy the economy, and 2, distract us away from the idea that, hey, maybe this pandemic that's going on is all nonsense. Distractions are distracting us all away from the true factor here. And by the way, this launch of this WorldCoin, man, this is one of the sketchiest things I've ever seen in my life, and especially around crypto. Like, this is just crazy to me. It's crazy that people are blindly going out and scanning their eyeballs for an airdrop of this coin. And by the way, this coin has a higher valuation right now than Solana at a fully diluted market cap. I mean, it's wild to me. Now, of course, this is right on par with what I've been talking about as well with these new implants. For example, Elon Musk's Neuralink wins FDA approval for human study of brain implants. Now, remember what I said about these brain implants and these implantable technologies. You're going to have the general public running out to get them because guess what? It's the big thing. It's the trend right now. And also, guess what? With a Neuralink implant, well, it allows you to access incredible amounts of information, knowledge, you name it, without actually putting in the time and effort. See, one thing, and I can speak on this generation because I'm 25 years old, the problem with my generation is that they don't want to put in any time and effort. So if they can access things, easier without putting in the work, they will do it. So this is going to cater to them. Hey, guess what? You want to learn this or, that? Well, guess what? Now you can learn it immediately with this implant. So they're going to run out to try to get this upper hand advantage without actually putting in time and effort. I think that a lot of what's happening around this implantable technology is right on par with what the World Economic Forum wants. And again, even with CBDCs, it's all the talk. CBDCs, go over here to Wall Street Silver, for an example. You thought speed traps in the USA were bad. In China, CBDCs is linked to your digital ID. Guess what? WorldCoin is giving you a digital ID for going out and scanning your eyeball, and also they're giving you free money. The speed camera system will immediately deduct your driver license points before automatically deducting a fine from your digital wallet. The speed limit here is 20 kilometers per hour. And and it's going to be in the US before we know it. Yeah, because no one is awake. No one can even, and listen, we're not stopping CBDCs. It's too late for that. The time to stop CBDCs was before CBDCs were even in discussion, right? I seen a comment on my video from yesterday, and the comment said, the time to really stop the government was back in the 70s or even back in the 30s. Yeah, when they brought in the Fed, first off, that was the big problem. And then, once they brought in taxes, huge problem. And then when we moved away from the gold standard, that pretty much ended it all. The government was in full control and they can control your finances. And with a CBDC, it's just going to get worse, right? The only issue that I see right now is that most people aren't realizing the lengths at which they could go with CBDCs. I think that this video from the World Economic Forum is a perfect example of this. So Wall Street Apes actually posted this, and what you see, the World Economic Forum says that with central bank digital currency, the governments can restrict private citizens from buying undesirable purchases such as ammunition. Why would they need to do that? Prepare for an angrier world, Klaus Schwab. And we do see this is the Great Reset, New World Order. And you know what? Listen, I talk to you guys, and I know that I sound crazy when I say this, but I do think everyone should be stockpiling a ton of resources outside of stockpiling investments and things like that, because you never know how rough the world is going to get in the blink of an eye. Okay? Things can change in the blink of an eye. Listen closely to this video.
And the one final note I will make is that if you think about the benefits of digital money, there are huge potential gains. It's not just about digital forms of physical currency. You can have programmability, units of central bank currency with expiry dates. You could have, as I argue in my book, a potentially better and some people might see it, or a darker world where the government decides that units of central bank money can be used to purchase some things, but not other things that it deems less desirable, like, say, ammunition or drugs or pornography or something of the sort. And that is very powerful in terms of the use of a CBDC.
So there you guys have it. From the elites themselves. CBDCs are here. They're happening. They are moving faster than you could ever, believe. And I do think that at this current moment in time, it could very well be too late. The general public seems as though they are just following blindly to free money. And it's crazy to me that people are going out and getting their eyes scanned just for their new digital ID with free money in quotation marks. Absolutely bizarre. It's crazy. And this is why I say, if we really want to stop a CBDC, we can't. We can't. There's too many people out there blindly following nonsense, and they're not awake. They're not awake. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, so notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As is up to you all, have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this world. That's been Nick. Peace out, guys.